guys, welcome to Friday's live stream. Today is October 13th and today's going to be a little bit different. So instead of sewing today, I'm going to do a little behind the scenes and how I use Electric Quilt, which is the software that I use to color my blocks, and all the things that you see me sew on live stream, I usually color them in Electric Quilt. Now, one caveat I would say is I'm just going to show you how I use it. There are so many ways to use it and so many ways to expand and do other things, but I'm just going to show you how I've used it. I've used it for well over 20 years, and so it's going to be kind of a tutorial, computer tutorial. Now, also, I'm not like computer savvy, so I might have a few hiccups. But my goal is just to kind of show you how I use it so that maybe, you know, if it's something you're interested in, you can see if it would even be worth your time or if you think you could do it or not. But first, I'm so excited. We have the brand new Celebrate with Quilts book by Lisa Alexander and Susan Aki, and it just came yesterday, so I'm so excited. So I'm gonna flip through it, and I just wanna tell you, if you pre-ordered it and you get it, oh my gosh, the paper smells so wonderful. So there are a ton of blocks and a ton of sampler quilts, and I'm just gonna flip through so you can see how much is in here. And we're gonna have 2 sew-alongs at least. And this one is meant to be really, you know, just be able to pick up the book, have an encyclopedia of some traditional quilt blocks. And I think 3 of the blocks use templates, so not that many. Lots of tips from Lisa and Susan. This sampler quilt is reminiscent of just a scrappy sampler without sashing, where you just put all the blocks together, and there are 4 different size blocks in this. And the inner border lets you do really fun stuff with half square triangles. This will be a quilt along with Fat Quarter Shop, Lisa Alexander and Susan Aki in March of 2024. I will be sewing it in Shoreline by Camille Ross Kelly. So mine's gonna be red, mine's gonna be blue and green. The second quilt along is Blueprint, which is super easy, and it's a layer cake quilt, and that one will be a quilt along in November, December of 2023. And then who knows, from there we might do more and more sew alongs. But I just want you to see that when you get a book that's published by Lisa Alexander and Susan Aki and published by It's So Emma, it's going to be jam-packed. We don't just put a couple of blocks on a piece of paper and say, here's a book with 10 quilts. Here's a book with 10 blocks. You get a ton, and you get great diagrams. Shout out to Sarah, who does the books, Jocelyn and Brittany, who help, and I think Tori and Katie helped with a photo shoot. So you get a ton of bang for your buck. And if you have noticed, prices of books have increased, and the reason why is because the price of books has doubled. The printing cost has actually a little bit slightly more than doubled. So prices have gone up on books, and that would be why. But you can now get this at Fat Quarter Shop, and I'm going to show you a beautiful trailer that Sophie put together with the help of all the people I just named, so you can see behind the scenes shots of the book. hope you love that cute little video, and I hope you purchase the Celebrate with Quilts book. I think you're going to love it. Now we're going to move to Electric Quilt. So if you don't know what Electric Quilt is, it is a software, and the most recent version is Electric Quilt 8. I used to use 7 until recently, and they're very similar. So if you have Electric Quilt 7, it's going to be similar. And what you do when you get this, you get the you get a quick start guide, and then you get some inside information about it. So that's what comes in there. In addition to Electric Quilt, we will slightly talk about Block Base. And what Block Base is over 4,000 blocks cataloged by Barbara Brackman. And if you're just starting, there are some books that Electric Quilt puts out, and these are kind of like a step-by-step. It tells you what to do, like do this. It walks you through how to use the software. And then there is a lesson for absolute beginners. Now, in addition to that, there are free videos on the Electric Quilt YouTube, and there are online classes that Electric Quilt sells, and those are paid classes, but you would find those on Electric Quilt's website. And then Electric Quilt also offers in-person classes. I don't know much about that. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do a very basic demo on what I do. But Electric Quilt has a ton of features that I don't use, and if you want more information beyond what I'm showing you, refer to the Electric Quilt resources that I just showed you. So when we do a designer release or a free pattern and I want to change the colors, that's mainly what I do. So let's say that we have Electric Quilt. Let's say that we have Socialites too. At Fat Quarter Shop, you get these free patterns, or our brand new book. There's blocks in there. What I use Electric Quilt for personally is to draw my blocks, to draw my quilts, and to color them. That's all I use it for. So I don't use it for fabric requirements or templates or any of that. But like I said, Electric Quilt has a ton of capability that I don't use. So today I'm just showing you what to do. And the way that I'm going to structure this is I'm going to show you what I would do from start to finish, how I would use it for something. And then from there, we will take tons of questions, and I can answer questions from there. But remember, you can always refer to Electric Quilt's website. So the first thing we do, and we're going to go to my computer screen. So before I even open Electric Quilt, the first thing that I want to do is download fabric images, because my main goal in using Electric Quilt is coloring my blocks before I sew them to make sure that what I actually sew will look good before I waste my time sewing it. So I'm going to show you how you download those from Motive Fabrics. Most manufacturers have something similar to this. So you go to motivefabrics.com in your internet browser. If you go to the Inspiration and Resources tab and scroll down to Fabric Downloads, so you go there, and this will have past and future collections. Today I'm going to be demonstrating drawing a block for Peachy Keen. So I'm going to search Peachy Keen. When that comes up, I want to select JPEG images. Now, just so you guys know, swatch page would be something you could print out to show you your images. But I want to download the JPEGs because I'm going to import the JPEGs into Electric Quilt. So Electric Quilt is the main software that I'm going to use. Block Base is an additional software that imports 4,000 blocks. So they are different. So I'm going to go to JPEG images and click. When I click, you can see up here how it's downloading. So you just wait until it downloads. And then you click on the zip. Now I need to select extract all, which is right here. So I'm going to hit that. And then I'm going to put it on my desktop. Select folder and extract. And then you have to just wait. It's going to take a little bit. Depends on how fast your computer is. And now all of the images are in a folder where I told it to go. So I'm going to close that. Now, just so you can see, today what I'm going to be demoing is I just picked a random block from Socialites. I picked kind of a little bit harder block. This is a free pattern from Fat Quarter Shop. We're going to be walking through how to draw this out and how to make a simple quilt out of it. Now, when you download your fabrics, there are some images that have swatches. So right here, if you look at your images, I want to delete my pre-cuts because I don't want to import those in. And then there are images that have a ruler on them. I don't want those, so I'm going to delete those. Sorry. So I'm going to hit that and I'm going to delete. So now, and I'm going to delete this too. So now in my folder, I just have all the images I need to import. And I'm not using the ones with rulers because if you do, it will just look ugly. So this process is similar to other manufacturers' websites. And if you can't find the images, you could always right click and download them off Fat Quarter Shop. So that's how you get your images ready, and that would be your first step for doing this. The next step would be opening Electric Quilt. And those should have been in a folder, just ignore that. Okay, so you open Electric Quilt. And when you open, there will automatically be images that are in the software, but I don't use them, so I immediately delete them. That's the first thing I do. So I go, and I'm gonna go over at the end what everything is, but it's best for me to just start with what I do because that's just the way my mind works. So you go to libraries at the top, fabric library. Now you see all of these images right here. Click on current sketchbook, select all fabrics, go to the bottom left and delete. And you want to delete them all because I'm not going to draw a quilt in fabric I'm not sewing with. Then what you want to do is on the bottom, click import from image files. You want to select all your images, which is all right here. So you would do Control A, which is to select all. And then I need to scroll down. Well, and then I don't need this one. So I'm just going to do select all A and then unselect this one and hit open. Now this is going to take a little bit of time. And when you buy the software basically you buy it and it gives you a code and you download it from the website. So you basically buy the software from Fat Quarter Shop. It gives you 2 different codes to download. You want to make sure you never delete that because if you lose it, then you don't have the software anymore. And like I said, this process takes a while. And what I'm showing you today is Electric Quilt 8. But if you have a previous Electric Quilt, it will work. It'll just be slower. I used Electric Quilt 7 until recently. So what I'm showing you today, you know, your screen might look a little bit different, but in general, it's about the same concept. And I learned this from just playing with it years ago. Okay, so from here, now that they're in there. I'm going to select all fabrics, top right, and I'm going to click import. Oh, I already did. Now hit close. Sorry. So now if you go to view sketchbook, this is where everything kind of lives. But if you go here to fabrics, your fabrics are not there. So I made a mistake. So let's do that again. Libraries, fabric libraries, current sketchbook, import. From image files, I need to do that again. And I think I just need to click import when it comes in. I think I forgot to hit import. It just takes a while. And the fabric images from the fabric companies should be free. Some of the companies have the images easy to access or easier to access than others. And this is kind of the longest spot is importing the images. And then what I did is I had forgot to hit import, and you'll see some little glitches today because I just downloaded Electric Quilt 8 yesterday. So I have been using Electric Quilt 7 for years. So you just hit select all, import. Oh, add to sketchbook. Sorry, add to sketchbook. That's what I forgot to do. So now when you go to your sketchbook, which is view sketchbook, your fabrics are right there. So we have imported our fabrics, which is always my step 1. My step 2 would be to draw a block. And it might be in your block library, and I'm going to go over the block library later in the video, but today's is not in the library. So we're going to talk about that later. So I'm going to draw a block from scratch. And what I'm going to do is do block work table, which is over here, yellow. And you're going to move from left to right. So we're going to work on a new block. We're going to draw it. So I'm going to click on draw. Now, right here, your block width and your block height is finished size. So Electric Quilt only works with finished size, so it does not work with unfinished. So you have to think in terms of everything unfinished. So you do have to know the difference between those. So your block width and your block height are the size of your blocks. Now, this right here is your vertical and horizontal snaps, which are these little dots right here. So if you set your snaps at 9 by 9, that will show you its whole number increments. So if I draw the block, I can only draw at the 1-inch increments. Now, if I set my dotted lines and I want 1/2 inch increments, I would multiply times 2. So that would be 18 by 18. Then you can see I can draw at the 1/2 inch line. If I want to have my block in 1/4 inch increments, I would multiply times 4. 9 times 4 would be 36. And here you could draw tiny, tiny pieces. So here I think I only need the 18, which is 1/2 inch increments. Now what I want to do is I'm going to click this pick, and I'm going to delete all these lines that I have. You just click on them and hit the keyboard delete. So I'm going to draw the block that I showed you earlier, and Ashley has provided a link to it. And on the block, I only use this little pick. or the line. I use the line or the pick. I don't use the arc, the grid, or the edit. So I'm going to just draw my block. And if I look at fabric A, unfinished size is 2 by 3.5. So I need to figure out the finished size. So 2 minus 1/2 inch is 1.5, and 3.5 by minus 1/2 inch is 3. So I need 1.5 by 3. So that's going to be 1.5 by 3 right here. And then my B and D's are right here, and those are 1.5 inch squares. Now, what I like to do to make it easy is once I do one corner, I'll do the remaining corners. So, and you know, a lot of times you'll have to start over. And sometimes when you know, it does take a little while, but this is what I do, and you just have to be able to figure out unfinished and finished. So now that I have the easy part done, I can see that my block is in increments of 3 by 3. So I can just go ahead and do this, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. My center is just a square, but here these are flying geese. So I'm going to draw them, and I'm just using this line tool and just looking at the grid. And I can go pretty fast because I do this all the time. But it will take time for you to get used to it. So for socialites, when I want to color, this is kind of how you start. So I have drawn the block. Hopefully, I have drawn it correctly. Because sometimes when I go to the color area, I have missed spots. So you saw we started with new block, we set the size, we drew the block, now we're going to color it. So to color it, I am going to color it. So what you have to do, where is it? Why is it not coming down? Sorry, I'm on a laptop and I don't know how to do it. I don't know what it's doing. Okay, hold on. Okay, so what I need to do is open my library, go to current sketchbook. Why is it not showing up? Sketchbook fabrics. Fabrics. Okay. So to start over, go to color, fabric tools, and you go to fabrics, not colors. Colors are your solids. And then I'm going to color my block. And it's because my computer is so zoomed in. It's easier to see if you're not so zoomed in, but I do better with it zoomed in. So you kind of have to minimize things, but I work better with big font. So from here, the easiest thing for me to do is to color in the backgrounds. So that's the first thing. Huh?
What brush are you using?
What browser?
What brush?
What brush? Okay. I don't know. I'm using the paintbrush. So you go to paintbrush, scroll down to fabric tools. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to make one colorway first. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. Can you do that for me real quick? We're going to zoom out so it's a little bit easier for me. Thank you to Monica for the super chat. She says, love FQS and all Kimberly and team do. Yes, thank you. Okay, much better. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to color a block that's blue. I'm just gonna do blue for fun. Okay, so I think that looks good. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you some tricks, but the first thing you need to do is, this is, like I said, I'm gonna do 4 colorways. This is my first colorway. So the first thing I need to do is add this. See this little red thing that says plus, add to project sketchbook. I'm gonna click that. And then you say, okay, and I'm gonna click do not show this message again. Now I need to save this, so I'm just gonna save it as Kim. And just save it wherever. Okay, so once it's saved, I'm gonna show you a second colorway. So now I'm gonna do peach. I'm gonna save the block by going to this plus sign on the left, add to project, and say plus. Now I'm gonna show you some tricks to go faster. If you go back to this little arrow, and paintbrush is where you are painting 1 square at a time. Fussy cut, wait, which one do I go to first?
Spray can.
Spray can. So if I click, let's make gray. Or green, let's do green. If I click this one, basically all of the ones that were the previous fabric are now green. Now I want to change all 4 of these at one time. And there you go. And then I'll do one more in the center. So now I have a green block. I'm going to save that with the plus sign. Now fussy cutting, so first we use the regular paintbrush, the spray can replaces, and the fussy cut is where you click, you just put your mouse on it and just move it around. So if you had a flower and you wanted to fussy cut it, you can do that with that. Now just so you know, those are the only 3 I use. Select, I use that in the draw tab. The select is where that's where you can delete lines from the draw tab. And the color tab, paintbrush will paint your block, spray can will replace whatever's there with a new fabric, and fussy cut, you can move your fabric around. I do not use the others. So this is green, and I'm gonna save this one. But now I need to make one more. So I did blue, peach, I'm gonna do gray. So I'm gonna go back to spray can. And actually, I don't want to do that. And I'm going to save that by hitting the plus sign. Okay, so now we have 4 blocks colored. And if you want to double check your work and view all the blocks you've created, click View Project Sketchbook. View Sketchbook. Now we're going to go to the blocks section. And you have a peach, a green, a gray, And this one right here, see how it says coloring 2 of 2? Let me see. Oh, there's the blue. So you kind of have to dig around to see where they're at. So this is your blue, this is your peach. You just click, that's your green and that's your gray. So sometimes it saves it better than that, sometimes it doesn't, but you kind of have to click around. Now these blocks that you see right here are just things that were in there to begin with, just in case you wanted them. So we have imported our fabrics in Project Sketchbook, and those are right here. We have drawn blocks. Now we're going to go to quilts. So we're going to close this, and we're going to image work tables, you know, where your images are. Your block work table is where we just were, and your quilt work table is your quilt. So we again are going to work from left to right. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select a horizontal layout. We can talk about these other layouts in a little bit. So I'm going to do horizontal. Go to layout. Since I drew 4 colors, I'm going to do 2 blocks by 2 blocks. So under horizontal, you select 2. Vertical, you select 2. My blocks are 9 inches finished. And then if you want to have sashing, you can select both of those and just say you want it to finish at 1.5 inches. You just fill that in. So now I have 2 blocks by 2 blocks. They're 9 inches each, and my sashing is 1.5. If you don't want outside sashing, you just uncheck this one. Now I want to add borders. So let's just do a 2-inch border. If you just put 2 in the first one, it'll fill out the rest. If you select all, all 4 of them are 2 inches. And then I always like to put my binding in. It's not a border, but visually it can show you what it looks like. So if that all is checked and you select 0.25, you've got a little thing on the edge that looks like binding. So we have done that. Now we're going to play with making it look pretty. So you go to design. So I want to put 4 blocks in here. So I click on the peach, select that. Now within the peach, if you click over here, there's my blue one hidden right there. I'm going to put the blue one here, the green one here, and the gray one here. And like I said, it kind of saves it weird, so you just kind of have to find them and figure out where they're at. Now what I want to do is to make it easy so I don't have to click a million times, I'm just going to make the whole background white. So to do that, I'm going to go to Fabric Tools right here. And I'm going to do spray can, or swap color is the same as spray can. And I'm just going to do the white. And that made all of it white. In fact, that image is not very pretty. There's a better white on white in here. I'm going to replace all of them out. Here's a better white on white. That looks better. Now what I want to do is I'm going to color some cornerstones, and I don't want to swap colors, so I'm going to unclick here and go to paintbrush. And I'm just going to try to find a fabric that I like. I'm just going to do this blue gingham. And if you want to make it easier, you can minimize this little thing. I don't trust myself to do it though. And then I'm going to put blue on the binding. Sometimes those are harder to click because they're small. And then I'm going to do kind of a background color on the border. So now I want to save my quilt, and I'm going to click that same plus sign on the left that says Add to Project Sketchbook. Thank you to Fatima Maria Pereira. I'm learning to quilt with you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for watching. So now we're going to go back to that work table. Sketchbook, sorry, view sketchbook. And you can see you've got one quilt, and it says right here, 1 of 1. When I'm done, like when I'm working on quilts, I'll usually have like 30 in there. And then you can kind of delete them out. I've got my blocks in here. And see how now it has 2 green? I have no idea why, just let it be. Fabrics are here. Colors are solids that you can pull from. And I don't use any of the other tabs right here. I don't use photos, threads, or embroidery, so I can't answer questions on that. So from here, let's pretend I like this block and I want to sew this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go File, Print. And I'm going to type quilt because I'm on the quilt. Now, if I was on the block, I could click block, and I can show you that in a second. So you would hit quilt. Now here, if you want it to be black and white, you would click outline drawing, and that would have no fabrics. And that would look like this. If you wanted to have fabrics, you can hit preview and you would see it would be colored. Now, I don't ever click any of these, but this would print your file name, your size, your block outline, and your patch outline. So if you look at it here, it has the name, the size, and I would just hit print. So that's all I would do. Now, if I want to print my blocks, for example, I would have to go to my block work table and say I want to print the gray. You could do, well, you could do this and just hit print, but I usually do file, print, block, and then it will have the size, showing fabrics. So that's what I do, and I would usually print all 4 blocks and the quilt, and then I leave that on my cutting table, and that is how I sew my blocks and know that I like it. The Electric Quilt does have the option to calculate yardage and cutting. It also has the ability to do foundation paper. If you're designing a whole quilt, it has options to calculate yardage and cutting. It has options to do foundation paper. It has lots of options. I don't use them. So that is something you would refer to the Electric Quilt. You could, let me see, can you hide the seam lines? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think you can. Yeah, I don't think you can hide the seam lines. Okay. So now what I want to do is show you how the block library works. So, and actually how all the libraries work. So basically, Sketchbook is where you see the work you've done. If you go to libraries and block libraries, your block library is based on the original name of the quilt block. So if you click like right here, this is block name Mosaic number 1. If you click here, Mosaic number 3. So the quilt block that I drew was an original block that's not a traditional block that was saved, you know, in the 1800s and named by Barbara Brackman. It's not a traditional block, so I had to draw it. But if you, for example, were looking at our classic and vintage ribbon border video that we just put out, and you want to find that instead of drawing it, you would go into your library, hit search. Note card means name, I think. And you just type ribbon border, and it's there. So I'm going to hit add to cart, add to sketchbook. Then I could go there and color it. I could go to view sketchbook, blocks, click on that block and edit it. It's already drawn. From here, we could color it in. And there's your block. So if it's already in the block library, you save a lot of time. When I used to use this, when I first started using this, I did buy block base because it has 4,000 blocks in it, and it made it easier for me to find blocks. And at the time I was using traditional blocks, so most of them were in there. Now that I don't use that anymore, just because I'm more proficient at drawing and I don't feel like I need it. But if, you know, it is a very useful tool. I just, you know, don't have the key code anymore to it. So now what I want to do is show you other things in the libraries. So libraries has block library. There's also a fabric library. And this just has different fabrics. So if you just wanted, like say you're going to make a yellow quilt, you could just select this and hit add to sketchbook. You could pick a brown and add to sketchbook. So these are just generic fabrics from different manufacturers that are in there. And it tells you the name of the collection. See, it says Rising Tide Batiks by Moda. So you can just pull from older collections if you just want to have a general idea of color. Another thing you can do in the libraries is look at the layout library. And you can just search by size. It's got a lot of memory. Crib. And so if you wanted to start somewhere generically, there are some layouts there. So libraries would be things to get you started. And like I said, I only use block, fabric, and layout. I don't use embroidery, photo, thread, none of that. Sketchbook is where you're currently working. And those are the two tabs that I use. Now I wanted to show you something else that's fun. Let's draw a quilt that's on point. You would go to Quilt Work Table, New Quilt, and then here you can select any of these. So I'm going to do on point. And remember, left to right. So you can go to layout. And say I want 2 by 2, and I want them to be 9 inches. I want 3-inch borders with a binding. And I want to put my blocks in there. So I would go to block tools and just put some blocks in there and color it. Now when you're working in the quilt, you go to layout and here is your size of blocks. So if you want 12-inch blocks, you put 12-inch. If you want 12-inch. If you want your blocks to be 4-inch, you put 4-inch. So your size is always on this layout tab. So that's how you make a quilt with different size blocks. Borders is where you change your borders. Design is where you put things in. Let's see, layout. Oh. If I don't want sashing, you put 0. So you kind of have to play around with this. Now, there is a question in here that asks, did I color the Barnstar sampler quilts like this? And I did. And what you do is you go to New Quilt, scroll over to Custom Set. And then you figure out what the size of the quilt is. Off the top of my head, I have no idea. But let's just say it's 68 by 80. You put your finished size there. You can put some borders there. You can, and then you can go to your design, and then you put your block there, and you can adjust your block here, and you can tell it, oh, I only want the block to be 4 inches by 4 inches, not 9 by 9. So you place your blocks there by pulling from your block work table. Where do I go to get more blocks? Oh, set block. So then you just pull them in here, and but this one is much more advanced, but this is a way that you can do something similar, kind of like Celebrate with Quilts, Barnstar Sampler. Okay, now I'm going to go into questions. If we have a paper pattern by Itzo Emma or one of the other Moda designers, is it possible to scan and have Electric Quilt recognize the lines? No. No, I don't think so. So really, if you have a pattern, first what you would do is go to Libraries, Block Library, and let's just search. Say you want Log Cabin. You search in the original name. If it's in there, great, you can add it to your sketchbook. If it's not, you have to draw it. Riley Blake does have downloads. Do you want me to show you how to do that? So what you would do is you would go to Riley Blake Designs, and we're going to pretend that I'm doing this. Denise is actually doing this because she's the smart one. So you go to Riley Blake Designs, you go to Storyboards, and it says Storyboard and Image Downloads. And then
I'm finding B dots.
we're going to find B dots. And then you click where it says Download Images. And then she clicked that, and now where you see where the arrow is, it's downloading. And then you basically go from there. Same thing. How would you do lettering? How would you do lettering such as Mary Mary? You would have to draw each block. The M would be a block, the E would be a block, etc. Is there a cross-stitch kit for Celebration with Quilts? No, but we are going to do a cross-stitch event in 2024. You can create curved blocks. I'm not an expert at it, but I can show you. So let's go to Block Library, Draw, and you see this arc. You somehow do it like that. Now, I've never done it, but you can do curved blocks, but it's not something I do, but you use this arc tool. Can we design or look through quilting patterns for a quilt with this? No. When you save, are you saving over the last save? No. Okay, so let me go into detail with that. So let's go back to our quilt work table. And let's just make a new one real quick. Well, I don't like that.
It's the same way.
Okay, we're just gonna make a new one and just save it. But just give me a second to like make it up. And let's just save that. Now when you
You have to save the new file because you're creating a new quilt. You're not in your original one.
okay, wait, let me go back to my original one. We're gonna go back to my original one because I screwed up. No, we gotta go to the original file. So you gotta go to, now we're in Untitled. We need to go to File and then scroll down and Open. And click that and then hit OK. Okay, so now from this file, we're going to create a new quilt. So now I'm going to go to Work Table, Quilt Work Table, which is right here. I'm going to save this right here. with the plus sign. Go to your sketchbook and you have your quilts. And if you, now we have 3 in there. So it does not override. Every time you click this plus sign, it will save it. So even if you change one fabric and you hit the plus sign, and then at some point when you stop liking things, you can delete it by hitting this. And that's the same for a quilt and a block. Every time you hit that plus sign, now sometimes it will say to you, your block is already saved in the sketchbook, and then you don't have to save it. You can do applique. I have no idea how to do it. Since I don't applique, I don't use it. There are some applique blocks in the library though. So if you go to libraries, block library, and you search applique, well actually you can look over here on this thing. Classic applique. There are some already built in there. And there are even more in the block base. Or you can draw them yourself. Does Moda have older fabrics lines or only current? I think they have older. How far they go back, I don't know. Laura Davis, if you're unable to locate the fabric, can you take a picture and upload your photo? You can scan your fabric and import it. I think you could probably do a photo, but I haven't done it. But I know JPEGs and GIFs work, or GIFs, whatever you say. Good morning, quilter. Do you need to name the sketchbook with the fabrics you downloaded? How do you find this particular selection of fabrics later? So you're basically, your fabrics are within your sketchbook. So you would just save that file. And then to find them later, you would just have them on your desktop or open the same project. This will be on YouTube. Okay, let me go to questions we had before. Do you think there's any other things that I haven't covered? No, you think I've covered it all?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you'll have questions, let me know. And that was just a basic tutorial. We're going to move in some stuff around. And I wanted to show you some stuff that we did this week. So Marissa and Kate put together this super cute blog DIY tutorial. So on our blog, The Jolly Jabber, this week we released this tutorial on how to organize your sewing supplies with a beautiful block quilt tray. So basically we took this block, that's a free block, on Fat Quarter Shop's website. We added a border and popped it in here. This is a white acrylic tray from Amazon. It's just, and you could find something like this at Michael's or Home Goods or anywhere. And we have a link in the blog post if you want this exact tray. And it's just a fun way to, if you have, this was actually a block left over from our video, and we thought, what can we do with that? So you can take leftover extra blocks, make a tray, and if you wanted to, you could put glass on top of it if you wanted to, but this would be a cute tray to put your supplies in. Like you could put your scissors, your pins, your rotary cutter. So just, you know, a way to make your sewing room cute, because everything should always be cute, right? So I hope that you really like this. This is super cute, and you know, you can have a lot of fun with this because you can start with a different tray size. You can do different block sizes, and to make it fit, just add borders to make it work. So this is just a creative way to use up leftover blocks and to make your sewing room cute. Now, this week, we loaded this new YouTube video. So we had a series this year with stepping out of your comfort zone and trying something different. And we featured a lot of quilters and bloggers, and this was my month. So this is the clamshell quilt pattern by Latifa Satifer, and then the clammy ruler. The video released last week, and so the video shows me making all of the clamshells using the Lighthearted collection. And this really was, I don't know, it was easier and harder than I thought, if that makes any sense. So I think I might have a mistake right here though. I think I forgot to add one. Oh well, that's pretty funny. Nobody even noticed in the video. So it was a little bit easier than I thought, but also a lot harder than I thought. But the great thing about it is if you use that clammy ruler, you do curved piecing, so this is not applique. And my curves actually came out a lot better than I thought they would. And then Teresa did crosshatch quilting with half-inch marks. She just used Aurifil thread, and she did the envelope back. So thank you to Teresa who turned it into a pillow. And we use Soft and Stable for this, so that if you really want your quilting to ever have kind of a texture to it, a puffiness, a 3D dimensional aspect to it, using Soft and Stable will make your quilting really stand out. You will, instead of batting, so if you just did this with batting, it wouldn't be as detailed, or you wouldn't see the stitches as much. You would just need to set your stitch length longer than you would with batting because it's thicker. And so that's how it comes out so beautiful. So if you ever want to make a clamshell, you can watch that video. And I have no idea how we missed that, but that's hilarious. We'll just pretend that we did a little clamshell right there. But that's what happens when you do things that are new and you step outside your comfort zone. So this week we released the ribbon border pattern, and this is a free block pattern in our classic and vintage series. We do have a paid pattern for the different sizes. This one I'm going to show you. So this is the paid pattern. So you can make a crib, a lap, a large lap, or a queen. So this is a paid pattern, and then this is a free pattern. And this is a great example of using Electric Quilt, searching in the library for ribbon border, and the block comes up. Anytime we do classic and vintage, Jocelyn bases these on actual vintage, classic and vintage blocks. So any of those would always show up in Electric Quilt. And thank you to Robin Hanren for the super chat. Love super chats. And so we did a video this week, and I'm going to show you the one we made, which is 60 by 60. And what I wanted to kind of point out is here is your ribbon block. Right here. Right here. So Jocelyn did something fun where she had the ribbon blocks just go and create a circle and a ribbon. Traditionally, when you looked at this pattern when it was published by Kansas City Star, it was just around the outside of the quilt. But what we did is we incorporated the ribbon border on the outside and the inside. This was designed by Jocelyn, pieced by Nova, and quilted by Joanna Marsh. And again, low price PDF for the quilt pattern, free pattern for the block pattern, quilt kits available, and finishes at 60 by 60. And this is the Peachy Keen collection by Corey Yoder for Moda Fabrics. Another quilt featuring that same collection is our Jolly Bar kit. Now this one does not have a video, but this is the free pattern that comes with the Peachy Keen Jolly Bar. It uses 2 Jolly Bars, and this is just corner squares. It's called the Fruit Cobbler Quilt Kit, so you can either get it as a quilt or the pattern in the Jolly Bar. This one finishes at 56 by 72, and this fabric right here is the white on white from the collection. It's not a Bella. That's also on the border. And this is the backing. So that's available as Jolly Bar. If you're going to make the quilt, you need 2 Jolly Bars. We have the quilt kit, and we have the backing set. Now I'm going to show you all kinds of new fabric. So Speaking of peachy keen, I just showed you two beautiful quilts. Oh, sorry, that one was designed by Angel, pieced by Rebecca, and quilted by Joanna Marsh. Okay, peachy keen. Okay, now we have all of the pre-cuts, all of the yardage, all of the kits, and all of everything. So this is the half yard bundle. Anytime you see a half yard bundle on Fat Quarter Shop's website, that means we have received the yardage because we cut our half yard bundles in-house. So now we have all of the peachy keen and love this collection. I have made so many things with it. It's like 20 pounds. I'm not even kidding. Blueberry Delight. Okay, so this is what we are currently working on the Petit Four pattern with. And last week I made my 8 blocks and I'm loving it. I love the quilts I'm seeing with the Petit Four. If you don't know about that, that is our quilt along using 4-inch foundation paper. And it's so much fun because you get these tiny blocks with 100% accuracy, and I love this collection. This is Blueberry Delight by Bunny Hill Designs and Moda Fabrics. And we did sell out of the background I'm using, but now we have her background in stock if you want to use that for your Petit Four. Also by Moda, this is the Ellie collection by Brenda Riddle. And this one is very shabby chic. It's got some grays, greens, light blues, pinks, dark pinks, and grays. So it does have a wide range of colors. These are the 2 different grays. This is by Brenda Riddle for Moda Fabrics. And she always has beautiful florals that are great for borders and backings, because I always love florals there. Now a little bit different for Edita, Laundry Basket Quilts. She has a new collection called English Garden. Now this collection to me is very reproduction and very different from her usual collections. Sometimes she'll do an all red collection or an all blue or all green. This one is very romantic and 1800s and reproduction-y. And there are 2 really cool, I'm going to pull these 2 out. Really two cool prints that are kind of cheater prints, but also great for borders and backings. That's one of them. And this is the other. So I just call them cheater prints just because, you know, they look like you did something when you really didn't. And Andover fabric, just FYI, it feels so nice and it's just got a really nice feel to it. The next collection is called Homestead. This is by Megs and Me and Clothworks Fabrics, and this one is really cute. It's got cotton. It's just a very simple line, and I just really like the colors. I liked the farm town feel, and I thought, you know, if somebody was having a baby and wanted something, this could work for home, kitchen, or baby. And just, you know, really cute scenes. And it's a smaller collection. It's got lots of tomatoes. But personally, I liked it. That's why we bought this one. This, I think, is so cute. Now, from Robert Kaufman, every now and then, they do a reboot of Essex. I'm going to read you the name of these and talk about them. So this is the Autumn Color Story of Essex, Fat Quarter Bundle. Breeze Color Story. Warm Neutrals. Cool Neutrals. And Not Quite White. Okay, so Essex has lots of different types of Essex. So there's like EO64, EO14, E blah, 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 blah. Basically, there are some shiny prints. They're Essex Metallics. There's plain Essex. There are Essex with checks. There are Essex that are homespun. There are different types of Essex. And what Robert Kaufman does every 2 or 3 years is they refresh it. That's what they call it. They refresh their colorways. So they might discontinue the ones that are not selling and add new ones for colors that stores might suggest that they're missing. Like maybe a store says, I really want a forest green Essex. They'll add it. So this is the refresh of the Essexes that are now in stock. Now, Robert Kaufman makes these once. Once they're gone, they're gone. They do not make more. And Essex are kind of a textured, linenish type fabric. Like they have a texture to them. They're not just a plain cotton. Now also from Robert Kaufman, same thing, Prisma dyes. This is not quite white. Cotton candy. Bright rainbow. And stormy skies. Now, Prisma dyes, the SKU numbers start with 7,000. So if you want a batik, these are all batiks. So these are Prisma dye batiks. We keep all of the 7,000 SKUs in stock at all times. So if you're ever looking for a solid batik with slight texture, see how it has a slight texture? Prisma dyes are a solid that we keep in stock at all times. It's probably the one basic solid-ish batik that we keep in stock. So now they have refreshed, meaning the same thing. Discontinued non-sellers, added new ones, regrouped them, made them into fat quarter bundles, and then they let the shops buy them once, and when they sell out, they're gone. Now we have batiks. So Island Batik, Kathy Engel, this is Earthy Greens. So this one is kind of like jungle, greeneries, outdoor. And Island Batiks always has a really nice color variation in their batiks where you can really see the texture. So that is Earthy Greens by Island Batiks. Now, Timeless Treasures, they call their batiks, they always call them Tonga batiks. So this is Splash Tonga batiks. This comes with fat quarter bundles. It also comes with yardage, 10-inch squares, and strips. So nice, bright, summery colors. Hoffman Fabrics, Give Thanks. This is, I think, a 12-piece group. Great for the upcoming Thanksgiving season. Nice big kind of like cabbagey looking prints. So that's kind of the new fabric that we have. And then the new book we have is Celebrate with Quilts. Again, don't forget about this brand new book. So beautiful. And you can see, you know, I love to brag on our books. There's not a lot of white space because we don't want a lot of white space. We want you to get a bang for your buck when you are paying for a book. This is 180 pages. And the photography is just beautiful. It's just stands on its own. Now, this is so exciting. Okay. Jocelyn and Brittany designed our brand new coaster set. I'm actually using one. Well, oh, she took it off. So it's, I was like, wait, where's my coaster? Because this is how I use my coasters. So it's shiny on the front. And then the back is cork. Now we're selling these available only at Fat Quarter Shop. We wanted them to be so cute. It's a set of 4. You can only buy them as a set of 4. We have never done something like this, so we have a limited supply, and we're hoping this will be great for our Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, Mother's Day gifts. Just super, super cute. Something we've never done before. And really excited about these, because now I can have, these two will match my sewing room perfectly at home. And these two would match my living room. So super excited about that. New patterns. Like I showed you last Friday, Hey Boo is the new collection by Layla Boutique that will be shipping in spring of 2024. So her new patterns are now available in paper and PDF. There's Tricks and Treats, The Web, Pushing Up Daisies, which this is also a Moda kit, Ghost Town, Frank, and she is going to be doing, she announced this yesterday, that she's going to be doing a quilt along called, I think, Monster Mash. We are offering that as a kit, and that kit information will be online by Monday. That will be a fabric kit only because the pattern is 5 separate small patterns. Now, also last Friday, I showed you the new Shoreline collection shipping in 2024 by Camille Ross Kelly. So here are the new Thimble Blossoms patterns. Puddle Jumping, which is an older pattern, recolored. Edelweiss, which will also be another Moda kit. Sand and Sea, which took all the greens out. Sweet Escape 2, and Coastal. And if you look at these patterns, she shows you using green, not using green. The Besties thread pack from Aurifil. Now, this is going to be hard. You're going to have to look at this online because this is so expensive I can't open it because I'm not going to take it home. So this is a Tula Pink Aurifil collection where Tula put together a set. And she's got the French Bulldog on one and a Poodle on the other. And I can't open it because if I open it, then I can't sell it. So we have beautiful photos online. But that just came in, I think, yesterday. Thank you to the Bathola for the super chat. This is how your coasters come packaged. So we're going to do a giveaway with those in a second, and I'm going to answer all the questions that have come in. So Lisa Ann has a great question. When ordering a Jolly Bar, how do we know if 1 Jolly Bar or 2 are needed? You click into the Jolly Bar. You scroll down and it will give you the fabric requirements for the entire thing, and it will say 1 Jolly Bar or 2. If you're going to quilt the Strawberry Sew Along Block of the Month, do you need to buy the Fig Tree book? I believe it comes in the Block of the Month. And the new book is easy instructions, just like It's So Emma, because we published the book. And so that one is really meant to be a block. The idea behind the book was to have a book that had, 40 to 50 blocks with a block library, 4 different block sizes. And it's not meant to be mix and match. It's meant to be mix all the sizes together to get a sampler. So if there is a block in there, for example, that has templates and you don't want to do that, you could just pick another block from the book to put in its place. So we are going to give away 3 of these brand new So Stitchy coaster sets by Fat Quarter Shop. And what I want you to do is comment and let me know, do you use Electric Quilt? Do you not use it? If you don't use it, what other projects do you use? And just remember, this video was meant to just show you how I color things, because when I bring and show you what I've sewn, I've always colored that in Electric Quilt before I bring it, because I don't want to waste my time sewing. And there are tons of resources out there if there's something I didn't cover. So make sure to check those out, and you have until Thursday to enter to win the Stitchy coasters by commenting. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.